again to Breaking Down Buhurt. I'm Sean Rohberon, and I'm the team captain of the Green Mountain Hermits, which is the male melee team for Vermont Armored Combat, and we fight over in Brattleboro, Vermont. So, I'm alone today. I don't have anybody else here with me, and some of the things that I want to talk about today are going to be about some of the events that we just did this last weekend and another event that we're going to be doing this coming weekend. So, first, talking about fighting at Gallery Walk. That was an event that happened this last Friday over in Brattleboro. Bunch of vendors set up right out in the street. They close off a section of the town and they have lots of different events. I believe they've had fire dancing, people doing hoop work, people doing circus work, putting nails through themselves or laying on nails. Lots of different types of things going on, multiple businesses being open on that street for people to be able to go to, and then us as Vermont Armored Combat being there doing some fight demonstrations for the locals to be able to see, which was a lot of fun. We had 3 fighters this last weekend, and it was a blast just being able to go there, set up, know that we were going back and forth between a couple of other vendors that were happening, so then we knew we were able to kind of gear people towards the different types of events that were happening that night, and it was a lot of fun getting to be able to kind of get ready for being able to host more events as Vermont Armored Combat. So yeah, that happened on Friday, and then on Saturday, we were fighting at the Bellows Falls Music Festival, which was a lot of fun. But before we fought at the festival, we went to the Flatiron Co-op because at that cafe they were having a tea party that was happening before the music festival, and it was kind of in collaboration with Bellows Falls Pride, which just occurred. Just on Saturday. You see on the photo, we were walking with them. We kind of came as escorts for the Bellows Falls Pride group that were there, and that's kind of how they referred to us, as kind of their armored escorts down to the Waypoint Center so they could be part of the whistleblower event that was happening at the train station, being able to wave to the different people that were getting on and off the tracks, and it was happening through multiple different train stations through Vermont, which is really cool that they were doing this kind of collective event together, these different towns putting these things together. So thank you to Susan McNeil, who kind of, as I understand, spearheads the Bellows Falls Pride group and the Flatiron Cafe for hosting as the starting point for that little parade that we did, that walk down to the Waypoint Center. So once we were at the Bellows Falls Music Festival, we had the honor of having the North Horde come with us. There were 2 members from the North Horde from Boston with us, James Z. and Killian, really cool people that took part in the fighting with us. And during that event, we had some very interesting demonstrations that we did for fights. We kept performing in between the sets of the different bands, so people would be able to kind of have a break from the music for a moment, come over, watch us, and then get right back into the music right after. So then nobody ever felt like there was ever a lull in the event. There was always something for someone to watch, to be entertained by. And one of the fights that we had was between myself and Killian. We had these tiny axe heads on these shafts that we fought with, and you see in this picture, they were these 2-handed axes that we were fighting with, but the axe heads were tiny. You can barely see them on the end of those sticks. But they were very, very cool, very fast axes to fight with, which I ended up actually loving. Killian here was the fighter that we went up against in that. We have a picture of him, and he was one of the North Horde that came, and very, very stoic fighter. When they stand there, they're kind of just this tank that was there. So I got the chance to fight him with the 2-handed axes that he brought. He had 2 of them, which was great. And it was so funny that during that fight with Killian with the 2-handed axes, we had just finished talking about how long those axes had lasted him and how they've not broken or anything. And if you watch the video now for the tiny axe fight that happened between myself and Killian, you'll see what happened after having that conversation. So you see where those little axe heads on the top allowed our two-handed axes to really fly. And usually with two-handed axes, I've found myself getting really exhausted real fast because there's so much weight on the ends of those sticks a lot of the time. But these things, you were pretty much fighting with bow staffs, it felt like. It was wonderful being able to feel like we go, oh yeah, and him just headbutting me. Like, apparently that's just something he does a lot of. He's a bigger guy. He's able to just kind of throw me around. But I was able to hold my ground with him, at least being able to not get knocked over. Not necessarily to knock him over, but just to stay standing myself. And right there, their two-handed axe just shattered. Like right down, like 3/4 of the way towards the bottom, it just broke right there. And it was just such a bummer. We both laughed about it though, because it was just, we had just had that conversation about how long the axes had lasted him and how they had never had any issue with breaking, but it allowed him to finally see the inside of the shaft of his axe in order to be able to see how it's made. Because he had always wondered what was the style in which it was crafted in order for it to have lasted so long and to feel so light for him and to be built so well. So that was pretty cool for us to be able to see the inside. But it was a very, very fun fight. And yeah, so over the course of that day, we also had a longsword fight happen. That was actually the first fight that we did, was between me and Jamesy. We had a longsword fight. It was a lot of fun, being able to go back and forth. Longsword is kind of our main thing here at Vermont Armored Combat, so it's always fun to find other people to get involved in that. And yeah, so we had the longsword fight, and in these fights, we were all counting them sort of as knight fights. None of them were strictly duels in that sense, because we wanted to make it exciting for the audience. We were fighting on grass, so we were allowing us to kick and punch and do takedowns and things like that. So we're fighting each other as hard as possible. The fighters are not holding back their swings a lot of the time. At these little demos, we don't want to necessarily hurt each other, but we're still swinging hard and fast. So we've got another picture of just poor Michael and Jamesy falling to the ground together during one of the fights. Very exciting, but yeah, just both of them just collapsing to the ground. But something that was great for Michael that day is that he actually got to wear his gi underneath his armor instead of his gambeson that he acquired for his armor. His gambeson is very thick, very exhausting, and he just felt maybe I could really cut down. So he took a gi that he had, dyed it to match the colors of his armor, and then he wore that underneath his armor that day, and he just felt like he had so much more energy to be able to fight that day, which was great. And so yeah, another really fun thing that Jamesy and Killian brought to us was doing what they referred to as a tag team match, which is inspired by kind of modern WWE wrestling and stuff, where two fighters go up against another two fighters, but it starts one-on-one, but you can tag your fellow fighter in and they can come in and start fighting as well. Or if you manage to push your opponent into your own corner, your partner can start wailing on them, which is a lot of fun as well. It was a very silly but exciting form of fighting that we were able to do, and we've got a video of one of the rounds of the fights that we had. Another bit of fun there. And so during this fight, we had myself and Jamesy starting the fight together, and then we had Killian and Michael in opposing corners. And when we started the fight, it was Jamesy and I starting, and we were both really excited. If you listen to the video when it gets going, you can hear Jamesy and I like calling things out at each other and yelling. Oh, yep, there it is. So we're partway through the fight already. I had just taken Jamesy down. Oh, okay, yep, we're getting back to the beginning. So yeah, the fight begins, and if you listen, Yeah, I give like a little ah as I tried kicking them through the air there. They're yelling about how they're gonna bring me to Killian, so Killian start taking me out. But when they said that, I got really nervous, so I started pushing harder, and I managed to get Killian down. I kind of forgot about Killian for a second. Then Killian came running over, started pounding in on me, and then we started managing to hold each other together. I had my machete debut for that day, which was great. It was the first time I ever got to use my machete as an armored combat weapon. It was so fast and so light. I'm really coming to think like maybe I'm leaning more towards lighter weapons than something that's big and chonky. And so I was able to just deliver a lot of swings and feel like I had the ability to do more grappling. And right there, we had about 10 seconds left. So I tagged Michael in this round. Just go, go, go. Get him as fast as you can. Just use whatever energy you got. Just like throw it all out for that last little bit. And he did. He did a great job. But yeah, so that was the tag team match. One of the rounds of the tag team match. We had 3, and it was a fun time. It was a blast. And I agree with Jamesy and Killian that it would be a great addition to tournaments, to fights. Like it could be another style of fighting inside of armored combat. So, yeah, it was a blast. The Bellows Falls Music Festival people were super supportive of the event. We had the opportunity to kind of meander around through all the vendors because there were plenty of breaks between our fights because of the music that was playing. And we got to talk with people, let them know what we were about, that we were there, that they could come down and get interested in it, cheer us on during the fights. And at one point during the later part of the event, I went out in my armor and started dancing amongst the different people there in the crowd, just to show that we were there and to show that we were able to have some fun and just kind of be silly too. I don't usually dance. I actually hate dancing myself, but I did it just so then people would see us and think it was fun. But when you've got a helmet on and you've got a big suit on, no one can see your face, and for some reason that usually makes you feel a little bit more comfortable in doing silly things like dancing. At least for me, because I personally hate dancing. But the crowd liked it, people thought it was silly, and it was just a lot of fun to be able to go out there and be involved in what everybody else was doing. And yeah, so that's the Bellows Falls Music Festival, and they're planning to do it again next year. That'll be the 3rd year that this festival will be happening. We're hoping to bring in, at least for me, I'm hoping to bring in some more sponsors, some more other events, maybe some fire dancers, maybe some other circus type events, other things like that. Bring in a lot of different stuff that could be happening during that festival. I think it would be really cool. So, getting on to the final part of what I wanted to talk about today, that is this coming Saturday, June 15th. We've got the Mutton and Mead Road to Revelry Renaissance Fair that's going to be happening down in Massachusetts. It's only going to be like 35 minutes from where we currently are in Bellows Falls, 35, 40 minutes, something like that. Or that's from Brattleboro, actually. So maybe it's closer to like 50 minutes or so from us. But either way, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be running from 4 until 10 p.m. Our fighting is mostly going to be from 4:15 until about 8:30. That's when we'll be doing our tournament. And it's an official tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've actually got a prize pool that we acquired from Cobco Arena Games over in Charlestown, New Hampshire. Really cool gaming store, hobby store, and they donated $1,000 worth of product that is actually what all the fighters are fighting over. We're going to have a long sword tournament, sword and buckler tournament, pole arm tournament, and knight fight tournament. And we've got 14 fighters coming to that, including one is going to be the national and international longsword champion. Inside of armored combat in IMCF, I believe, is the league that they were fighting in for that, which is amazing. It would be really great to have them there. We're all really excited to have them there because a lot of us, at least the ones who are really into longsword, are really excited to just have an opportunity to fight with them and do a little bit of dueling with them and kind of test ourselves against this person. So that'll be a lot of fun. And during that event, with the 14 fighters, VAC is actually the one hosting it. And so we're really looking at this as another step towards VAC hosting events or piggybacking off of others, but proving ourselves as a group that could actually put on a show. And at least that person that I talked about, the international champion of longsword, they're impressed just that we have these prize pools. They've said, well, the medals are nice and all, but it's really nice when we actually get something out of it. Like at the Cheese Cup last year, VAC hosted that, and we had gambesons that were up for grabs that people were going to be able to order and have custom made for them from a sponsor that we had. This time we've got all these nerdy RPG books, magic cards, Warhammer miniatures. There's a lot of overlap between nerds and armored combat, and so it really worked out where we've got these wonderful sponsors that are helping us give to the fighters that are coming to the events that we host. So we're really hoping to kind of keep that type of momentum going, where we've got those prize pools available for our fighters, show our appreciation of them for being involved in the sport. So if you are around this coming Saturday, June 15th, come out to the Mutton and Mead Road to Revelry Renaissance Fair and come and watch our fighting that's going to be happening over the course of that day. It's going to be a blast. Even when we're on our breaks between the tournament fights, I'm sure out of those 14 people, some of them are just going to want to do some fun mixed fighting with each other, just so then they're getting some more time in their armor, doing their duels, practicing their stuff, having the opportunity to go up against Sam, who is the person who's the international champion, just wanting those opportunities to get more fights in. And so there shouldn't really be kind of a lull too much in the day from 4 until 8 with us there. And there's lots of other things that you'll be able to see at this Renaissance Fair. We're just one of those things. So you have lots of opportunities to see really exciting stuff there. Music and dancing and different vendors and crafts and whatnot. So it'll be really fun. So thank you for watching another episode of Breaking Down Buhurt. If you're interested in getting involved, reach out to myself at worldunderwonder@gmail.com. Or find us on Facebook at Vermont Armored Combat and just send us a message, and I'll be the one that's communicating back with you, because I'm the one that kind of helps vet our new members, make sure everybody works with each other. And yeah, and we've got actually a couple new members that have been starting to reach out since this last weekend from the events that we were doing. So we are continuing to grow, hoping to get more people involved, and that includes you. Thank you for watching.